Hi guys. So I was just having some popcorn. I eat popcorn almost daily these days, and so I'm in the middle of like making all these different videos today, and so this one is about the fact that Elon Musk is trending as President Musk today. And so I'm thinking to myself, where's this heading? Where is this heading? What does this mean for America, for democracy, for accountability, for norm? You know, I mean, he's been attached to the hip to President Trump since before November 5th, and certainly after that, we hear that he just refuses to leave Mar-a-Lago. Okay, but now it seems that his influence is expanding from not just Trump but to the parliament, to no, we don't say parliament in America, Marion, to the Congress. Oh my God, I've been in Europe too long. Um, to the Congress, right? And it was very sort of, in a way, a big relief to see that the Congress of the United States actually stood up to Musk, or not stood up to him, but certainly defied him when he sort of ordered them to kill the omnibus bill, and refused to cause the government to go into a shutdown, because it just seemed to me that he's become so incredibly powerful. And it's not just me, because the fact that President Musk is trending says that a lot of other people see it as well, right? And I don't know what that really means, and where that leaves us. I mean, I live outside the country at this particular moment in time, and I happen to be in France at the moment. And for the life of me, I can't imagine a similar scenario where the president of France, who happens to be Emmanuel Macron at the moment, um, would have this kind of outsized character whispering in his ears, and him giving this character all of these powers that are not even constitutionally condoned, if you will. And what would the French people say or do about it? I cannot imagine a scenario where Elon Musk could come into, say, France, and work this tightly with the French president and exert influence over the parliament, or try to tell the parliament how to vote about things that affect the French people, like social security and their pensions and their retirement. And for French people, I can't imagine a scenario where French people would just be sitting in their apartments and that's it. You know, because these people, in my experience, they look for any excuse to get onto the streets, to protest, to strike, to demonstrate against whatever governmental policies they happen to disagree with at any given moment in time. And the idea that, a non French man, Elon Musk, a South African man in this case, billionaire, a polarizing figure coming into France and having the same kind of impact over Macron and certainly over the parliament, it's completely unthinkable to me. Like, and I'm not the most politically, aware person in the world, but even I know that this could never happen in France. And so the fact that it's happening in America, and Elon, to his credit, I mean, the fact that he's able to infiltrate the American government in this way, and other governments, Italy, China, Russia, I mean, he has relationships with many, many global leaders, and he clearly wants world domination. This is a man who values, I think, power more than even money, although both go hand in hand. He realizes that without money, he has no power, you know. And he doesn't want the money to buy houses and diamonds and pearls for his wives and this, that, and the next. He wants the money to influence the figureheads of the world, you know, and starting America is the biggest fish to catch, right? Once he captures America, the quote unquote leader of the free world, um, who can't he have? You know what I'm saying? And I think one of the places he couldn't have is France. I mean, the French people would never allow it. They would just never allow it. I mean, they would get rid of their own president first before they allowed this kind of situation to occur with an Elon, this Elon Donald Trump thing. But so today, the fact that um, President Musk is trending, I find it to be very, very intriguing, entertaining, insane, all kinds of different, adjectives all at once. I mean, President Musk. I mean, because essentially that's really what he's doing. He knows he could never be president because he can't run for president. I think one of the things that he, after paying $250 million to Donald Trump, one of the things he might want to do is to have the Constitution reworked. Him and people like the guy Steve Bannon and those types of people, Jason Miller and Stephen this or whatever, together, I think that potentially they could exert pressure on the president, who would then exert pressure on the Congress to change the Constitution. I must say that until yesterday, I kind of believed they could get away with it. But now that the Congress has stood up to Mr. Musk and to President-elect Trump and refused to toe the line and refused to be controlled, I think it bodes well for democracy and not so well for oligarchy and the takeover by people with money. I mean, the fact, look, if Elon were poor, you know, he wouldn't be in this position. So he's in this position specifically because he's rich and he's the richest man in the world, and money talks and BS walks, and that's okay. You know, money talks and BS walks. I mean, I know so much BS in my life that, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and denounce money. Money talks, it talks. But, there's a limit to how much it's going to talk in certain contexts. And I think that what the American Congress has basically said with, the vote this weekend to refuse to increase the debt limit and refuse to be commandeered by, Mr. Musk and President-elect Trump to a lesser degree, um, it says that, it's not going to be so easy for them to just change the laws and change the Constitution and, just have things be the way that they want things to be. I think that there's going to be some pushback. And there was this one commentator on NBC, Lawrence O'Donnell, I think his name is, where he started calling President-elect Trump a lame duck president, which I don't think Trump is going to appreciate that at all, right? Um, but I think conceptually, it's almost a relief to know that President Trump, has only one more term, and traditionally a two-term president, the second term is his lame duck term, so he doesn't really have as much power as he would if he were to seek re-election for a second term, if you understand what I mean. So in a way, that's kind of comforting because it means that the congressional leadership and just the members of the Congress will not be so terrified of President Trump, so that if he says jump, they say jump, how high. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think they're going to be dissenters in the Republican Party, in the Republican, the non-MAGA Republican group, who are going to side with Democrats if they disagree with whatever it is President Trump and Mr. Musk is asking them to do. And that, I think, could potentially include tweaking the Constitution, because I think that Mr. Musk wants to be president. And if he could be president, I think he would. I think he would absolutely run for president, and he would literally, I mean, he would try to buy himself the presidency. Yes. I mean, Ross Perot was a billionaire who tried to do that. Michael Bloomberg. So the fact that you're a billionaire doesn't mean you would win, but he certainly would try, and maybe he could win because he's just so much more dynamic. He's a more dynamic billionaire than maybe all of the others. And I think young men in particular, or just men, period, like him and look up to him because of all the crazy things he can do, technologically speaking. And so they admire that and they would vote for him for that reason. But I think it's very, very comforting to know there's going to be some checks and balances because, I don't disagree with everything that Mr. Trump says or does, or, I mean, a lot of his platform, I'm like, I don't necessarily agree. Obviously, I'm not Republican, but I don't disagree with everything. And I certainly don't hate him. Um, but I've always said I didn't want him to be president only because I was afraid of, the retribution and all of the lawsuits and the lawfare and all of the things that would follow if, because he's a guy who, it seems to me that, he needs to get his pound of flesh. I mean, you don't cross him. Don't cross him. He doesn't forgive. He doesn't forget, right? And he gets his pound of flesh. And there's been a lot that I didn't agree with in terms of the lawfare and stuff like that against him. And I knew that if he ever got back into office, it would be hell to pay. And I was like, oh my God, just forget it. Don't put him back in office. But so here we are back in office, and it seems like he's percolating to, do this tit for tat lawfare for the next 4 years and so on and so forth. And then you have this, Musk guy who's even more, he's usurping even Trump, and being called President Trump, and he's influencing Trump in many different ways. I mean, when they start talking about cutting Social Security, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm approaching my retirement years, and you're going to do what? Um, it's a deal breaker for me. And so it's a relief, though, that the Congress, as I said, has stood up to quote unquote President Musk, because it means that in the future, over the next 4 years, they're not just going to roll over and let him and Vivek Ramaswamy, and even to some extent President Trump, do whatever they want to the American people. There's going to be pushback, there's going to be accountability, and there's going to be some semblance of democratic norms that are going to be kept in place. And so that's a big relief. Anyway, guys, I want to enjoy my popcorn. So I think that's it for this one. See you in the next one. If you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, definitely hit that subscribe button right now. And what else have you got to hit the subscribe button? You've got to hit the notification bell, which is really important, so that you know when I upload new videos. You've got to share the video if you've got a network. You have got to leave a comment. And yeah, come back for more. Yeah, okay. And if you are a brand or sponsor or something like that, and you're interested in working with us at Marion Chronicles, definitely contact us at cruisingparis@gmail.com. Okay, so that's all for this one, guys. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.